Welcome back, dear friends, to the Crimson Academy's course on the World Order of Baha'u'lláh by the beloved guardian Shoghi Effendi. In this next letter, dear friends, entitled America and the Most Great Peace, in this 23-page letter, dated 21st April 1933, addressed to the believers in the United States and Canada on the occasion of the passage of 40 years after the first public reference to Baha'u'llah and his faith in the United States, the beloved guardian Shoghi Effendi outlines the distinctions achieved by the American Baha'i community in service to the cause. He refers to them as a community which has attained an undisputed leadership among its sister communities of East and West. In this letter, he recounts the attacks on the faith, the vilest imputations hurled at its face, and the false assumption made by its enemies that it was an expiring creed. He recalls that the Bab had been labeled by these opponents as a perverted apostate, and Baha'u'llah was denounced as an unscrupulous plotter and usurper, while Abdu'l was branded a stirrer of mischief and a notorious exponent of expediency and fraud. The principle of the oneness of the human race has been referred to by these same detractors as a shallow attempt at uniformity, the supernatural forces animating the faith condemned as a vain belief in magic, and its teachings on universal peace as a mere utopia. They have hailed the efforts of the covenant breakers as invading forces of schism, which would lead the faith to complete ruin. It is God's design. The beloved guardian Shoghi Effendi further points out that the center of Baha'i activity should gravitate away from its cradle to the shores of the American continent, from east to west. He then draws a parallel to the rise of Christianity in the East and the manner in which, at its appointed time, the standard bearers of the cause of Jesus Christ succeeded in establishing his worldwide dominion on the ruins of the Roman Empire. The spread of the faith from Iran to the West was one of the most outstanding aims adopted by Abdu'l for his ministry. The beloved guardian Shoghi Effendi describes the infinite love which His Holiness Abdu'l showered incessantly but wisely on the American friends, culminating in his choice to address the tablets of the divine plan specifically to the North American Baha'i community. He then reviews the developments of the faith during each of the 4 decades since its appearance in North America. The beloved guardian lauds the influence exerted by the early Western pilgrims to the Holy Land and the manner in which the faith struck its roots in American soil. The passing of Abdu'l, he points out, released potent energies which crystallized in the system of Baha'i administration. After referring to covenant breakers and their vicious onslaughts on the faith, he assures the friends that these notorious exponents of corruption and heresy succeed in protruding for a time their ugly features, only to sink as rapidly as they had risen into the mire of ignominious end. The beloved guardian Shoghi Effendi then lavishly extols the American Baha'i community for its success in formulating the legal instruments to incorporate the National Assembly in transferring national endowments into its name, in succoring its Egyptian brethren, in intervening on behalf of its fellow workers in the Soviet republics, and in extending its support for its harassed brethren in Persia. The beloved guardian Shoghi Effendi particularly praises the efforts of such members of the community as Montfort Mills for his defense of the right of the Baha'is to the ownership of the House of Baha'u'llah in Baghdad, and Martha Root for her confirmed teaching work, and particularly her success in obtaining from royalty repeated testimonies to the power of God's holy faith. The beloved guardian Shoghi Effendi also mentions the courageous efforts of Keith Ransom Keller to obtain for the Persian Baha'i community a greater measure of freedom and recognition, and finally the band of American women pioneers who scattered throughout the continents to raise the standard of the faith in different countries. Dear friends, we will share with you from this stirring message some extracts, and he also, the beloved guardian, shared some questions which he put forth to the American Baha'i community. He states, "Will it be America? Will it be one of the countries of Europe? Who will arise to assume the leadership essential to the shaping of the destinies of this troubled age? Will America allow any of her sister communities in East or West to achieve such ascendancy as shall deprive her of that spiritual primacy with which she has been invested and which she has thus far so nobly retained? Will she not rather contribute by a still further revelation of those inherent powers that motivate her life to enhance the priceless heritage which the love and wisdom of a departed master have conferred upon her? Her past has been a testimony to the inexhaustible vitality of our faith. May not her future confirm it?" And dear friends, that was from the World Order of Baha'u'llah, page 94. And as mentioned, dear friends, we'll share with you now some more extracts from this letter. And this is from page 79. Contrast the sad plight of the nations of the earth, and in particular this great republic of the West, with the rising fortunes of that handful of its citizens, the Baha'is, whose mission, if they be faithful to their trust, is to heal its wounds, restore its confidence, and revive its shattered hopes. Contrast the dreadful convulsions, the internecine conflicts, the petty disputes, the outworn controversies, the interminable revolutions that agitate the masses, with the calm, new light of peace and of truth which envelops, guides, and sustains those valiant inheritors of the law and love of Baha'u'llah. Compare the disintegrating institutions, the discredited statesmanship, the exploded theories, the appalling degradation, the follies and furies, the shifts, shams, and compromises that characterize the present age, with the steady consolidation, the holy discipline, the unity and cohesiveness, the assured conviction, the uncompromising loyalty, the heroic self sacrifice that constitute the hallmark of these faithful stewards and harbingers of the golden age of the faith of Baha'u'llah. And as mentioned, dear friends, this was from page 79 of the World Order of Baha'u'llah. Dear friends, our next extract is from page 89, and this will be our final extract from this letter. The passing of Abdul Baha, so sudden in the circumstances which caused it, so dramatic in its consequences, could neither impede the operation of such a dynamic force nor obscure its purpose. Those fervid appeals embodied in the will and testament of a departed master could not but confirm its aim, define its character, and reinforce the promise of its ultimate success. Out of the pangs of anguish which his bereaved followers have suffered, amid the heat and dust which the attacks launched by a sleepless enemy had precipitated, the administration of Baha'u'llah's invincible faith was born. The potent energies released through the ascension of the center of his covenant crystallized into this supreme, this infallible organ for the accomplishment of a divine purpose. The will and testament of Abdul Baha unveiled its character, reaffirmed its basis, supplemented its principles, asserted its indispensability, and enumerated its chief institutions. With that self-same spontaneity which had characterized her response to the message proclaimed by Baha'u'llah, America had now arisen to espouse the cause of the administration which the will and testament of his son had unmistakably established. It was given to her and to her alone in the turbulent years following the revelation of so momentous a document to become the fearless champion of that administration, the pivot of its new-born institutions, and the leading promoter of its influence. To their Persian brethren, who in the heroic age of the faith had won the crown of martyrdom, the American believers, forerunners of its golden age, were now worthily succeeding, bearing in their turn the palm of a hard-won victory. The unbroken record of their illustrious deeds had established beyond the shadow of a doubt their preponderating share in shaping the destinies of their faith. In a world writhing with pain and declining into chaos, this community, the vanguard of the liberating forces of Baha'u'llah, succeeded in the years following Abdul Baha's passing in raising high above the institutions established by its sister communities in East and West what may well constitute the chief pillar of that future house, a house which posterity will regard as the last refuge of a tottering civilization. And dear friends, this was from The World Order of Baha'u'llah, page 89.